Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Eco Solutions, the Get Synced series. What is the Get Synced series? Well, we're bringing people together that are, in their own way, bringing about sustainable development in the world. They're changing the climate of thought, of mind, of practices, and they're doing it with passion and conviction. And my guest today is Helena Lindemark. She's the founder of the 2022 Initiative Foundation and founder and CEO of Sustainable Development Sweden AB. Her focus is on sustainable development, which started in 91. It includes both employment, consultancy work for the UN and the EU, the Swedish International Development Corporation Agency, the private sector. She has a talent for seeing the big picture, for systems thinking, for turning problems into opportunities, and today she uses her experience for the sustainable development of international content's sustainable change agent. Well, this is what we're going to be talking about today. Sustainability, our part in it, the change that we need to make in order to help the environment along, help each other and humanity along. And it requires all of us to step up. And we need people like Helena who are going to show us the way, guide us, inspire us, and invite us along the journey. Welcome to the show, Helena. Hello.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hi, great to have you here. And it's late.
I think we have a little bit of a problem with the internet.
Okay, so we may have a little hiccup here. Right, that happens, folks. We have to remember the internet is a wonderful gift, but it has its own temperament. It is just energy after all, right? So you do a lot of things under your umbrella. And the big word sustainable there in all aspects. How about you guide us a little bit into your why you're doing what you're doing?
Well, it all started out all way back in 1991 when I was working for the United Nations in Bolivia. And the Rio conference was in 1992. So, and I was there in Bolivia working with quite a lot of different projects, quite large scale projects. And we had some training in environmental issues, and we were asked to go through our projects to look at the environmental side of it. So then I got into sustainability from a holistic point of view. So because the purpose of the projects were social and economic development, and then we added environmental issues. So it was sustainability. Mm-hmm. And then when I came back to Sweden, I studied environmental economics. And ever since then, I've been working with sustainability in a holistic perspective.
Explain sustainability in the holistic, because of course everybody, when you look at sustainability, they're looking at economics or they're looking at the environment. From a holistic point of view, can you help us understand that better?
Okay, usually you include social, environmental, and economic perspectives in sustainability. But to actually get it to the individual, you need to see that it actually relates to the individual person. It's about humanity. It's about the survival of humanity. So when I worked internationally for quite a long time. I worked with a person called Alan Atkinson. He's actually from the US. Mm-hmm. And he, together with Donella Meadows, who was the author or the main author of a book that came out in 1972 from Club of Rome. Yeah, well. And they were trying to find an index, or trying to find how sustainable were different communities in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And then Manila had made a triangle showing what was the content of sustainability. And it was social, environmental, and nature, economy, society, and well-being. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alan came to this conclusion that, okay, those four terms are the same as, or the first letter in those words are the same as in a compass. So they worked on a sustainability compass, or they developed a sustainability compass. So instead of north, east, south, west, the compass points were nature, economy, society, and well-being.
And that's really important to look at. I mean, well-beingness is a very broad spectrum, but it's if we're not living in our well-being emotionally, environmentally, financially, physically, then we have a great deal of discord and disconnect and upheaval. So to seek the harmony of those balances, I think kind of, where do you start? Do you start at the well-beingness? Is the well-beingness the end equation? Because that's really what we're looking at, isn't it? The sustainability of well-beingness.
Yeah, and I think the problem with sustainability is that we see it as externalities, what economists would say, something that is not a part of us as humans.
Right.
But when we include this part of, we divide the social part in society and well-being, then we see that, okay, we are part of this. It's part of our well-being. If we're not, that's the main.
Yes.
The
goal.
Yeah.
That's the whole of the compass, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The human survival.
But then, of course, you've got all these people that, we have so many voices out there, and everybody speaking from their platform. And some say it's about the economics. Some people say it's about the environment. Some people say it's about humanities and humanity itself, the well-beingness of animals and people and the way we treat each other. It is everything. But is how do we bring about the conversation where everybody can have that input from their point of view, and bring it about that we can make a one meal fits all type thing, the ingredients on the plate, because it's not about just one, is it? It's about all of it coming together.
Yeah. No, but what I really like this compass thinking. But when we worked together with another startup company in Sweden, and we did this Internet of Things roundtable discussion thing for working with the global goals. Then we saw that, okay, to set the world right again, we need to turn this compass upside down.
Yeah. Okay.
All
right.
So turning the compass upside down, you get nature at the bottom. And then you can realize that nature is the basis for our survival, which is actually the truth. And then economy and the sustainable development goals that are related to economy and
growth,
innovation and growth. Yeah, exactly. We can use those as tools for creating sustainable societies, which ends up at the top. And well-being of the individuals. So you get like a circle. I would love to show it to you somehow. Let me see if I might have a picture.
That you can always send to me, and I can insert into the
video.
And it will be also on the blog, folks, so you can look at it there. But you're mentioning a circle. Life is a circle. It's even when you look at a triangle, at certain aspects, you can draw a circle around at any one of the points. And the thing is, we have to address nature, because nature's in charge, and nature's not very happy with us right now. We have to address economics because that is the sustainability of each country and how we produce and how we live, and sustain our needs. But if we don't put humanity first, in the sense of the way we treat each other, the way we treat all life, because I'm going to throw veganism and livestock in there, because we have, in consumerism, we have now started manufacturing animals instead of ethical farming and etc. And we're feeding a greed, we're feeding an opulence. And I think what we've forgotten is balance in our own lives, of that we don't need all this extra that we've been told we do. And that by everybody pulling back and rather looking at each other as where the wealth is, the wealth in friendship, the wealth in helping each other, the wealth in camaraderie and support, we actually understand really where the enrichment lies. But while we're still looking for it all externally, we're constantly throwing ourselves out of balance, aren't we?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I agree completely.
But how do we bring people back, though, to understanding less is more?
Exactly. I really think that we need to bring out this compass thinking, not just look at sustainability as something external that is part of us as humans. So, we're working on creating a digital tool for doing that. But
excellent. I mean, people do need a guideline right now. They're lost.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's too much information. You've got people pointing out what we're doing to the planet, and yes, what we're doing to the planet, it's not going to be around much longer if we continue. But we've also got to understand the way we're treating the planet is the way we're treating each other, the way we're treating ourselves. And we have to go back to our thinking of what really we need and what we really need to do. Because if we don't rethink, recalibrate, we're not going to be able to step forward. So we need tools that are going to guide us into bringing about that balance and that equilibrium, so that sustainability can be had by everybody, can't it? Planet, us, every living thing. But we're out of balance, we're out of sync. So we need something to bring us back in. So you think that the compass is a way of bringing people back in to proportionating the world, each section having a proper portion and not one thing being more than the other.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have we have these global goals that all the UN member states have agreed upon. Even United States are still in this.
Skin of the teeth. It's what the people want, but not necessarily what somebody else wants. Yes.
No, but those are so important.
Yeah.
And something that can really make us actually survive on this planet.
Right.
But we needed to see it from the holistic perspective and not just work on one goal at a time.
Right.
There are a few goals that are extremely important for our survival. The climate, for example, one of them. But in the compass thinking, we can include all of them. And I have I don't know what it would look like if I show it like this. Yes. But this is what it looks like.
Excellent. Yeah. Describe it a little bit so we can.
Yeah, okay. So what we need to do, these are the global goals that are related to nature and Mother Earth, it says. And we need to use those kind of goals in a sustainable way, because those are the basis for our survival. And let me see, these kind of goals that are related to economy, innovation, and lifestyle. This is in Swedish, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. We can get the picture.
Those can be used as tools for creating sustainable societies at the top, and the well-being of the individuals.
Mm-hmm.
That's not just human individuals. That's
Right.
all kind of
Life.
life forms.
Life forms.
Life
Yes.
on Earth. Yeah.
So, basically the foundation is the core, the rooting, the
Yeah.
base of everything. Like in
Mm.
any building, you have to have a foundation, and
Yeah.
it has to
Exactly.
be a strong one because it's
Mhm.
got to withhold, not only the structure, but it's got to withhold the movements of the wind or the
Mhm.
tremors or anything else that goes on with life. So the stronger your foundation, the more
Yeah.
rooted it is, the more it can actually sustain what's built upon it. Right, so the
Exactly.
foundation is the most important thing first, and when you're
Mhm.
looking at it logically,
Yeah.
we're also injecting in the ethics
Mhm.
and dignity, and
Mhm.
most certainly collaboration, because this is
Exactly.
something we all have to get on board with.
Oh yeah.
Right, this is
Yeah. That's
this is not a Swedish thing, or
no. No.
this is an earth thing, a humanity thing. That
Exactly.
we all got to get
Yeah.
on board with the same thing. Yeah.
And that's why we have put the partnership
Yes.
goal number 17 in the middle of this compass.
Right.
Sustainability goals compass.
See, what you've done is kind of put something out there that's quite logical. But
Yeah.
because so many people are talking at each other or across
Mhm.
each other,
Mhm.
are not with each other,
Mhm.
most of the time, most people are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's going across,
Oh.
and being lost. So having a diagram, which then has people home in on the
Mm.
topic at hand,
Mm.
home in to what needs to be addressed. I
Yeah.
think it directs people to a much more cohesive
Mhm.
conversation and collaboration, because you have a basis of which to talk from, and not just everybody flapping in the wind.
Yeah. Mhm. Exactly.
How are you
Yeah. When
finding that with leaders? How are you finding that with people that is bringing about a common denominator? Are you finding it that people are being very receptive?
no, I'm not. We have some challenges, I would
Yes.
say. Yeah.
Hmm. What
We
are
have
those challenges?
we have a tendency of working in silos, um, putting sort of um, putting people in. I mean, you can either you work
Compartmentalizing
in
them.
yeah, you work in academia, you
Yeah.
work in government sector, or you work in civil society or
Hmm.
business, or you can divide people into other categories as well. Um, but that's the way our brain is working, unfortunately, today.
Right.
And
We have to reprogram.
exactly, yeah. I mean, I guess you've been in different kinds of categories
Oh,
during your
yes.
life. Oh
Yes,
yeah,
even right here at
huh?
selfdiscoveryradiotv.com.
Yeah,
We have
exactly.
many different categories, yes. But a
Yeah,
common goal, but a common core.
yeah,
That's the thing,
yeah,
it's the common core with a lot of differently diverse perspectives on it.
yeah. Mm. And most of us have. And I mean, I've been working for the UN. I've been working for the Swedish government.
Hmm.
I've been working for a large business company. I've been working for civil society organizations. And right now, I'm in a civil society organization that I started on my own, or
Hmm.
actually two of them. And I am also trying to run a business.
Right.
So
Yes, the
at the
juggling.
same time, there are sort of three
Yes,
different roles, and we
yes.
really need to intertwine those to make this.
Well, that's the thing. When we look at it, it's we're all weaving a blanket,
Yeah,
aren't we? And we have to, instead of looking at each of these departments as separate, but as
mhm,
part of the thread in the blanket,
exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if you can see behind me, but okay, there is this thread
Right.
uh,
Oh, right, right.
here.
Hmm.
Where we're trying to show that we need to weave those threads together to actually get sustainability.
Right. I'm afraid that's
For a
the only way
sustainable society.
we're going to get anywhere, is that we have to maybe put little arrogance or ego aside,
Mhm. Exactly.
and look at the the common goal,
Uh-huh.
the common collective. You know, I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan, a little bit of the Borg coming in here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about you losing your identity of what you're bringing to the
Yeah.
table. It's rather looking at the table as a feast and
Mhm.
complementing the dish,
Yep.
right? Complementing the
Mhm.
menu. And there's a very interesting story. I interviewed this wonderful gentleman, Sam, from the Bosnian pyramids. And
Okay.
this pyramid is one of the largest pyramids they've ever found. And
Um,
the information that they have found from it, you know, the energy source,
um,
the water, the healing, the massive amount of knowledge that they're learning from it has debunked a lot of information we thought we had. And
wow.
instead of being embraced by the scientific world
Mm.
as, you know, oh, you know, knowledge that we can grasp hold and understand, they're still trying to defend the outdated knowledge as
Oh,
if it's some form of attack on them. And I think this is a lot to do when you're talking about ecology and sustainability. People are
uh,
working on old information and
yeah.
they're not open to new information or new ways of looking at something.
Yeah.
And we really have to be open, don't we?
Mm.
You know, we
Yeah.
have to be open because there's always a new way of looking at something that
Mm.
still requires your
Mm.
expertise and your knowledge, but to open it up and see it from a different point of view, to
Yeah.
understand how it's going to work.
Yeah. And at the same time, we have a lot to learn from history.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
There are a lot of things that we have forgotten.
Right. You know, there's things that we've forgotten that we still need to use, and there's some things we need to forget.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Definitely.
So again, it
Um,
comes to that balance. What
mm-hmm.
is relevant?
Mm.
What can serve you now? And you find so much politically and academically very often stuff that is not relevant being brought to the table.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so really what you're asking is people to come to the table that want to weave this thread together in a collaborative form, bring your expertise, but that
Mm.
is relevant to the topic.
Mm. Mm. Yeah,
Not
exactly.
as easy as we say it, right?
No, it's not.
But
It
we
will
try
be
and persist.
soon. It will be. Uh, and I mean, humanity has been trying for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's something that I realized when I, or actually the idea behind the 2022 initiative.
Yes.
It came up when I have been working internationally with sustainability since 1991. And a few years ago, my son lost his vision due to a rare disease.
Sorry to hear that.
And I decided I didn't want to go traveling quite that much more, at least not for a few years. And so I decided to work in Sweden. First, I set up a or actually not a company, but an NGO for that disease.
Mm-hmm.
Been writing books and stuff.
Actually, let's just hit that topic of the disease before we go
Okay.
to the
Yeah.
2020,
Okay.
because
Great.
let's bring that in here.
Uh,
What kind
uh,
of disease is it? And
it's a rare disease. It's hereditary, and it's called Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy.
and it attacks which part of the eye?
Usually the optic nerve, or the optic nerve.
So
Yeah.
they completely lose vision
So it's
altogether?
a central vision that's and he lost first on one eye just before he turned 15, and then almost a year later the second eye just came like that, just in a couple of days. So it was quite a difficult situation.
Kids are so resilient with what you
Yeah.
see they can do today and how quickly they adapt and learn different ways. And I think in a lot of ways, you know, how we bring this into the topic today is that you look how quickly a kid will adapt to the situation and look for a solution or resolution. Okay, I can't see anymore. I'm going to see through my hands or through my voice. I'm going to look for other ways.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so why can we not look at that ourselves and go, okay, I can't see the situation anymore. I need to learn to, in other ways, see what's going on. So
Yeah.
we could take a lot of wisdom from that.
And actually, he's 23 now, but he learned a lot from that. So
Yes.
he's doing sometimes speeches or speaking to large audiences about his experience.
Right.
And he's realized now that that is something that you can actually not learn
Right.
from a university course or whatever. It's something that you can just learn from experience.
University of life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah.
again, when we talked earlier about inspiration for invitation, he's become that invitation for others to look at things in a different way because he's so inspiring. You're trying to do the same thing as well. You are putting something together that's inspirational, that is also logical and applicable and adoptable and adaptable, because you've been willing to see things from a different point of view. And we have to step out of our old paradigm and look at different ways of looking at things.
Yeah. Okay. And what happened when I just started that NGO, and then I thought, okay, what I really want to do is work with sustainability, because that's sort of my
Passion.
core business, my passion. Yeah, exactly. So I thought, okay, I've seen a lot of good examples of how the fact that Sweden is usually seen as a role model within sustainability has had a positive impact on other countries. For example, I was working with international training programs, and in the year 2002, one of the training program participants was from the Chinese Environmental Protection Agency. And within those programs, they were supposed to do change projects. And his idea for his change project was quite easy to implement from the beginning. But then when he came to Sweden and saw how we were working here, and they were working in from like 20 different countries. Then he, after a week in Sweden, he came up to me and he said, Helena, would it be okay if I change my project and I instead work on including the requirement for public participation in the Chinese law for environmental impact assessment? I said, oh, yes, of course. And at the same time, I was thinking, oh my God, can it even be dangerous to work on that in China in 2002? But then, okay, but he's still, he was quite high level and lawyer and in the Chinese EPA. And I thought, okay, he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
So he started to work on that. And then 2 years later, we were asked by the Swedish International Development Agency to do the same kind of training for only Chinese participants. So I got in contact with this person and got to know that they were just about to approve that legislation.
Wow.
So it was improved in only 2 years' time.
See, they got on with it. They got on with it. Yes, instead of dragging their feet. See, it can be done, folks. Pay attention to other countries.
Exactly.
It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do with the person, though, because he was so inspired by what you were doing. He obviously was smart enough and wise enough to know how he could bring it back to his country.
Yeah, and not just what we were doing. It was people from Africa, people from other parts of Asia and Latin America and so on. So it was a mixture of people from all kinds of all over the world.
Collaboration. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We work much better when we work together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we need to do a lot more of that.
Oh yeah.
So that's great to see
So
that kind of movement. So how does that play into
yeah.
2022?
Well, it plays into 2022 in the way that when I decided to, okay, what I really want to do is to work with sustainability, and I've seen the advantages of Sweden being a role model in this. So I decided, okay, I want to start a company. And I thought, okay, the name could be Sustainable Development Sweden Incorporated. And so I applied for that, and it was no problem at all 4 years ago
Right,
to
yes.
establish the company. And then I thought, okay, I need to find something really big to actually match that name. And as a coincidence, I don't know, but anyway, I found Rachel Carson's book,
Mm-hmm.
Silent Spring, in my parents' home, just 2 weeks after I started the company. And I thought, okay, I started to read it, and I realized that, okay, that book is actually written in 1962.
Mm-hmm.
And already in 1962, she has come a long way in seeing how we are affecting our environment or the world,
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature,
Mm-hmm.
in a negative way.
Yes.
We're destroying for ourselves, for
Yes.
humanity. And I thought, okay, if she had come that far in 1962, and the Rio conference was in 1992, and that's when I started to work with these issues. And I thought, okay, what happened in between?
Mm.
And then I realized that already in 1972, we had the first UN conference on sustainable development in Stockholm.
Ah.
The Stockholm conference. So, okay, what can we do about that? And then I realized that in the year 2022, it will be 50 years, the 50-year anniversary
Right.
since the Stockholm conference in 1972.
So it's really time. I mean,
It is.
50 years to get the act together. You know?
It's quite some time. So,
Yes.
and we have all the solutions. We
Right.
just need to start doing, not just talking, but do it.
Oh, that's a big word, doing. You know, I've kind of changed the word activism to actionism.
Exactly, that's a good one.
Because
Love that.
we don't need activists anymore. We know what the problem is. We
Yeah.
need action, and
Mhm.
we need people to ism it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we need people, everyday people. I always say I interview
Mhm.
ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And we've
Yeah.
got to realize that it's not waiting for everyone else to do it. It's what
Yeah.
can we do? How
Yeah.
can we be
Exactly.
participants? And
Mm.
by doing these shows under the Get Sync series with Alice and Goodwin Synchronicity,
Mm.
Synchronicity, what we're looking at is showing how ordinary people decided something needed to be done and stepped
Mm.
up. And now have laid out this wonderful invitation, these wonderful platforms for
Mm.
other people to become a part of. We're not asking people to start at the beginning. We're
Mm.
telling you there's so many things already in motion. There's
Mhm.
so many things that have been going on for so
Exactly. Yeah.
long. But what
Mm.
they need is we need to get out of first gear and get into fourth gear. And that
Yeah.
requires participation, doesn't it? It requires
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
of us to step up and
Oh yeah.
decide on what it is you want to be a part of, join it, and
Mhm.
be a part of it. Don't just sit
Mhm.
back, be a
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. So the Sustainable Development Goal number 17 is the most important one to actually get this done. It's about partnership and action for actually
Yes.
delivering on the goals.
Actionism.
Yeah.
That's really where we're at, isn't it? You know, we've had so many talking heads for so long.
Oh yeah.
And you know, and again, it's they're not talking with each other, it's talking
Mhm.
at each other, and it's going past each other, and nothing is being done. I always relate it to this. You're a mother. If
Mhm.
we just talked about what we were going to do, you know,
Mhm.
for supper, taking the kids to school, the uniforms, the this, the that, all the things that are required of us as a mother, Our kids would never be fed, they'd never be clothed, the house would never be clean, we would never ever do anything. And what would happen to the family dynamics? Everything would just crumble. So why are we not looking at our lives as just as important as raising a child? Right? What we're raising humanity up to a higher frequency, a higher level of consciousness, in order to maintain our house.
Yeah, it's like a house, definitely. Yeah. And we need to see the earth as our home, which it is.
We're renters, and we're very bad renters right now.
Oh, yeah.
We need to change our practices quite considerably. But you know, the thing what I love of what you're doing is the fact that you do have it. You have the tools. You know, you've been around long enough to see what's needed. And you obviously, you know, follow your conviction of your passion. And by just having something as simple as that compass on what the needs are, because what do you hear from people? I don't know what to do. I don't know what's needed. And they've got this politician or this company or this organization or this CNN thing, blah, 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 blah. And all that does is confuse people. We know there's a problem. How about the solutions? Because that's what we really want to know.
Yeah, because we have all the solutions.
Yes.
I mean, we can solve all these 17 global goals. Maybe not today. Well, we could, but it would be.
We could start today. We could start today.
But we can be done by the year 2022, at least in Sweden. I mean, we're at the top, number one in the Sustainable Development Index. So, I mean, we need to be. There's a responsibility issue.
Well, and this is the thing is we need to look at, and again, under this umbrella, please everybody look under the umbrella of the people that we're bringing to you, because each one of them is an ingredient in this feast here. And we've got, you know, the Simpol solution, which is simultaneous rule with, you know, John Blunt's and Nick Duffel, which is before you know, back in September's issue. And, you know, a simple policy that can be brought to your politicians that gives them the tool and the language to communicate with others, you know, on the playing field, using your compass as a talking point. You know, the compass can be part of the policy as a talking point of where to start. But I think we've got to stop this individualism of I'm right and you're wrong, and everybody just be quiet, look what's on the table, and how can we put these pieces together to create a better picture.
And also, I mean, Sweden is in this survey that's done on values, World Value Surveys. Sweden is at the top corner, top right-hand corner. We are the most individualistic country.
Right. Yes. Yes. I mean, when you're looking at a lot of your countries, there's Sweden, Norway. You know, you're the forefront in this. You're showing how we can live ethically, sustainably, in respect of placing value on family. You know, I don't know about Sweden, but I think it's Norway that's, you know, 4-day week instead of, was it 36-hour day a week?
No, we don't have get married. No, not
right. I think it's Norway. But what it is to encourage family time. You know, the social interaction with your community time, because that's what builds a better, stronger community. That in turn enriches and brings about the profit. You know, I just had Pure Necessity on with Robert. I'm not going to say his name right, Gerek. And he's got this Pure Necessity, beautiful thing. It's people, planet, profit. Right? And I would add another P to that, you know, purpose. Because everybody's stepping into the purpose.
That's the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we don't invest in people, they're not going to treat the planet right, and we're never going to make a profit. Right? So we need that purpose. People need a purpose to place value on the planet to bring about the profit. And so, you know, that's the importance of this. We're not looking at things from the right angle, are we?
No, we're not.
We're looking at profit first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's something that we have created,
Yes.
and it's just during the last 200 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have a different. We used to see nature as our actually.
Our commodity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. We
It's the
appreciated
basis for
that.
our survival. Yeah,
Yes.
which we're not anymore.
No.
Um,
No. Now
a
we
lot
can
of,
manufacture anything, and we don't care. You know,
yeah,
the caring is gone, hasn't it?
yeah. So we have a lot to learn from a lot of indigenous people.
Yes.
Still understand that Mother Earth is important to them, or us, I would say.
Yes.
When I was living in Bolivia, for example, every time you got something when you were out in the projects and so on, you were often invited to something. You had something to drink and so on. And then you always had to give a sip to Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise you couldn't
Respect.
drink. Yeah, respect.
Respect. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, we see so many disaster movies, you
Yeah.
know, of it going off to Mars, going off to this planet. We've screwed this
Yeah.
planet up. Now we're going to go and do it somewhere else. No,
Oh,
it doesn't work that way. You know, the planet is not screwed up at all. It's perfectly in sync.
yeah.
It has a
Yeah. It will
brilliant,
survive without us.
oh, it's,
Yeah.
and humanity, I saw the other day, is 0.01% species on the planet. But we are the most destructive. But we are also the most creative. So
So
can
we
we
can solve
not
this.
step into our creativity rather
Exactly.
than our destructiveness?
And we have all the solution. We just
Yes.
need to start doing.
Yes. There's so
Focus
many
on
people,
doing.
I mean, like the plastic issue.
Yeah.
There is an enzyme that they can put in the water that goes after plastic and dissolves it. You've got people making roads out of plastic, houses out of plastic, you know, recreating all sorts of things. When there is a need, we are incredibly creative of providing a solution to that need whenever it comes to something that's a product. But whenever it comes to something that's an ideal or a practice, we seem to go round and round in circles before we can agree on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes me come back to the 2020 initiative and the idea about that. I also realized that in 2022, it will be 50 years since the Stockholm conference, as I mentioned. That's one thing. And it's also 30 years since the Rio conference. That might also be something to celebrate if we've come far in 2022. And then a year after this was started, I mean, it came up in my mind, we had the agreement on the UN global goals and also the climate agreement in 2015. So in 2022, it will be halfway to 2030
Right.
since both those agreements.
Right.
And the year 2030, I mean, it's great if we can solve all these global goals.
If we could survive till then, yes.
Yeah, but if we can solve all these global goals, we'll be doing fine. We'll survive on this planet.
Yeah.
But it's a tricky thing because 2030 is a bit too far away to create a sense of urgency and actually have action now.
Yeah.
And that was needed if we're going to solve them. We need to speed up the process of actually getting there. So then we need a shorter perspective. So 2022 is the solution to that. So what we want to do is to create, first of all, a movement to getting as far as possible on these global goals until 2022. And you can have a competition with yourself or with others, if you like. And in the year 2022, at the same time as the same time period as the Stockholm conference was held, that was in June, we would have a conference all over the world. We need to act locally to get a global impact, exactly. So we can, instead of everybody coming to Stockholm, we can have conferences all around the world.
Or tuning in.
exactly,
Yes.
connected digitally, and showing how far we've come, and we could have competitions like actually it could be like a sustainability Olympics
Yes.
or
Yes. I
similar.
like that.
Yeah,
Yes. Definitely.
uh, and that way we could have it every 4 years. So we'd be in 2022, 2026, 2030, and then I guess we would have to continue with some, even if we solve these goals until
There's always
2030.
something else, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
that's a brilliant idea. And the bronze, silver, and the gold, isn't so
uh-huh.
much the medal, it's the acknowledgement of which
Mhm.
country is stepping up. And,
Yeah.
and I think, what I like about the simple policy is that it addresses the smaller countries that are struggling as well as the big ones. And I think, there should be kind of an Olympic drive as to, award for which countries are helping the smaller countries become sustainable,
Exactly. That's a good
right?
one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We really have
because
to do
don't
that.
leave them behind because they're small. They're included in the Olympics even if it's only one person.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how
Yeah.
about a competition for which countries are going to step up helping the other countries, not going in and buying them or lording over them, but working with them to
Yeah.
build
That's
their own
goal number
sustainability.
17. That's
Yes.
part of that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is that, again, the solutions are there. You've got things laid out. It's just a
Mhm.
question of people getting out of their own way and saying, okay, this is a very good plan. I would love to see the compass in every school,
Yeah.
in every
Yeah.
university, because it's, remember the old food group thing, which now they're
Mhm.
changing, milk, cheese, and all of that, they're changing. But
Yeah.
if you look at the food group thing and you look at the compass group thing, as the
Yeah.
philosophy in which to build on. What you're
Mhm.
doing is putting everybody on the same mindset.
Mm.
We
Mm.
know this is the foundation, which, you may want this side of it, you may want this side of it, but what you have to understand, it's in a circle, which means that we have to interact always with each other.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not your
Uh-huh.
department, my department, and at odds with each other. It's our departments that are coming together for the whole circle, for the greater good,
Uh-huh.
as the world is round.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we realized that quite some time ago, didn't we?
Yes, there's some people still think it's flat and we're going to fall off, but
Oh, yeah.
uh, and the circle of life is relevant in so many things, and in fractalization and in math and in all sorts of things, zero ones in computers, that circle is always something, because it's meant to always bring us back to the beginning,
Mm.
always bring us
Exactly.
back to that starting point and
Yeah.
put everybody on the same line,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
important thing. The circle can grow, but
Yeah.
it's having it always connected. So
Uh-huh.
I'd love to see. I mean, have you got this in English and in other languages, the Compass platform?
Well, not the upside down version, but the one that Alan Atkinson developed is definitely in English.
And the one that you showed is in Swedish. Have you got that in English yet? The
Not yet,
Compass?
but we're working on it.
Good, good. And when you do, I want to blast it out, because it's it, get to it, madam. We need it now.
Yeah, yeah. I have it like a slideshow.
Right.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
because that is something we need to get out. As you say, Sweden is already ahead of the game. We need to get the other countries involved. And of course,
Yeah,
English
yeah,
is still a common language around the world. So let's
yeah.
get that out there and let's get other people understanding. It's really quite simple. You've laid out the building blocks,
Pretty simple.
the blueprint, and
Mm.
it's from there you're inviting the
Yeah.
creativity of how we can make this happen.
Yeah. And actually, about that, I started to say something about Sweden being in this top right corner,
Mm-hmm.
but very individualistic. And I think we can use that if we really realize that we can take care of ourselves and the whole, I mean, we can do something about our lives.
Yes,
And if we find a purpose for what we're doing,
very
we can make
important.
a difference.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. And like 2 weeks ago, I talked to the author of a book called The Nordic Secret, where they come to the conclusion, more or less, that I mean, Sweden used to be a very poor country,
Mm-hmm.
in the 1800 to 1850 and quite some time after that, people actually emigrated to the US because of the economic situation. They couldn't survive here. And at that time, there was this movement that started to educate people, to make them take care of their own lives. Well, it's called in Swedish folkbildning. Folk is people's what would you say, emancipation? That you actually learn things about how you as an individual can take care of your own life.
Individualism?
Sort of, but
somebody's out there saying the word to us and we're just not getting to it.
Learning about yourself and how can you take care of your life? What can you do? What is the purpose of your life? How can you do, what can you do about your life?
I call it self-discovery.
Yes,
it's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Discovering what you're here for. What's your meaningful purpose? Yeah. Yes. What's your contribution? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was this huge setup with trainings, and we still have this in the Swedish society, actually the Nordic societies, I would say, where we have this. I don't know the word in English, but folkhögskola is the name in Swedish. This is the book that I would recommend. It's in English, the Nordic Secret. Yeah. And it's a way of, we actually made people understand that
the value of each other.
Yeah, the value, and our own life. What can you do as a person?
Well, when you look at Sweden and Norway, I mean, you're number one in leaders of community, of people being less stressed, being happier. They work less, they produce more, they have much better value of life. And, we've got people literally dying of stress because it creates dis-ease. And we have more illness now than ever before, even though we're meant to have more cures. And that is because of the stress factor. And you guys have got it right. You've found the balance. That's the thing, right?
Well, we're actually have a lot of stress as well, and we're getting there as well. And we are losing a bit of this.
Can't lose that. That's what everybody's seeking.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the secret, and we need to get back to that again.
Yes.
So I really love this book. I would recommend it.
The Nordic Secret, folks. And who is it by?
It's Thomas Björkman.
Thomas Björkman.
And another. There are two co-authors. Lene Rachel Andersen. She's a Danish. She's Danish, and he's Swedish.
And this is important. We've got to realize other people have made journeys. Other people that have had observations. There's always somebody like your 1962 author who wrote something that was to come. And at the time, they probably thought she was so far-fetched. What's she talking about? It's the same as, some other things that you see, and you see it a great deal in movies and TVs and things like this, and you think this will never happen. And the next thing you know, it's happening. And it's like, if we can think it, we also make it happen. But it's, what are we feeding?
Exactly.
Why can we not feed the solution rather than the problem? Why do we have to go down the problem road first? Because there are so many solutions. We can see what's wrong. You don't have to go down and investigate further what's wrong. Turn around right there and go, okay, that's not going to work. Let's start looking at what we can make work. Right? That's where the focus needs to be. And that has become people's meaningful purpose. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's your meaningful purpose with what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And we're very grateful you're doing it.
Well, I hope we will get there. We will.
No, you will. Yeah. And the thing is, what my prediction is, as war brings about a massive escalation in innovation, we're in a global crisis right now in humanity, in the state of humanity, and the lack of caring or connection with self, with love, with kindness. That's the reason why we treat our planet so badly, because we're treating ourselves so badly. And there is an awakening right now. There is an awareness right now that the constant searching and chasing after happiness isn't there. It's within us. And, you know, the light is coming on, and people are realizing love and life is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. And joy is when you step into your purpose and you are contributing and helping humanity along the way. It's part of service. And when we step into that, we understand. You know, we get it then. But we've got to be prepared to take our individual journey, become the I am, so we can be part of the we are.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
You know, you're building a we are block there. You've built a platform for the I ams to come and join. So it's for everyone to step into that. I am a part of this. I'm a part of the purpose. This is my contribution, and I want to join the we are.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And we can all be part of the sustainability games, or the Olympics, or whatever it can be called.
And we need to be.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're kind of making it an Olympics, you know, because, you know, human beings are competitive. And if you give them a competition, and the only award is I'm number one, you know, it's being high up on that ranks. You know, but that's again, what it takes to get them there. Let's do it.
But again, everybody will be a winner.
Yes, exactly. It's the bragging rights.
Yeah.
Playing into that competitive nature of humanity. And in the meantime, they're serving humanity. Yay!
Yeah. So, I mean, the competition would not be about being best in the world. It would be best for the world.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And you can compete with yourself.
And becoming that platform that others go to. You know, you do it so right. How can you show us? Right? So they become the tutor, they become the mentors for other countries. Yes. So the mentorship is actually the prize.
Yeah.
Right. Totally different thought practice. And, you know, when you change that thought around, it changes the meaning, but it also changes the invitation.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. So how do people become a part of it? How do they find you? How do they sign up? How do they get that beautiful compass in English? Please do share.
Well, we have a website, the 2022 initiative, .se. So far, it will be international soon. We are just starting our journey to build up this foundation. And we're getting people on board that are well known internationally soon, but anybody could start by sending an email to us at info. Or there is a contact form at the website for the 2022 initiative.
Okay, and I have another one here, Halba. And this must be in Swedish. When I click on the 2022, that's what comes up. So is that a different one, or is that just the one in Swedish?
What was the name of it?
Halba, the initiative sustainability. It's halbart.nu. It has all of your things on it, so it must be in Swedish.
Okay. Yeah, that's the website of the company.
Okay.
It's halbart.nu. And halbart, it means hållbart. It's actually pronounced in Swedish. It's an A with a circle over it.
Right.
In Swedish, and it means sustainable.
Okay. Right. It's so sustainable 22 initiative or the Halba, you know. Okay, so when you press on it, it comes up in a different language, folks. You know, and you can press translate. So don't worry about that.
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful.
Because we are dealing internationally here.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
what we're going to do is we're going to see different
Uh-huh.
languages and everything come up. And so don't worry if you do. It's you haven't gone to the wrong place. You've just gone to a different language, and there is that lovely little button that says translate. So you
Oh,
go into
that's
any
wonderful.
language you want, right? Yeah, exactly. The miraculous things of that they can do today.
Yeah.
So I really want to see the compass out there for everyone to follow.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I think it's a wonderful way for people to have in their hand and say, let's start talking.
Mm.
Where do we need to start? Just like any building foundation, what
Mhm.
what structures need to be built from there? How do we communicate with the whole of the builders in order to build this,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
that everything's done in order? And I think it's a wonderful way to bring people centered into focusing, because
Mhm.
that's something what everybody's lacking is focus. And
Yeah.
so you're giving them building blocks to focus. And I love the idea of the Olympics. So let's start looking at that. 2020, it's 4 years away. You've got to start planning.
Oh
And
yeah.
and so I think this is a brilliant idea of
Mm.
competition, of that sustainability, and inviting the world to see it,
Mm.
because
Mm.
we all love games.
Not
We all
just
love
see
to be
it,
part of it.
take part of it. Yeah,
Yes,
you need to be part of the
yes,
Olympics.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want your country to be up there, as
Mm.
that mentor for and beacon of light for other countries,
Mm.
you've got to participate in what your
Yeah, you
country
can do it.
does.
I mean, the idea is to do it locally, so
Yes,
you can have competition all over
yes,
the world.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. It's a whole big
Arenas all over the world.
community thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's get that going. All
Yeah,
right. Actionism.
definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
two wonderful solutions there. The compass building blocks, the competition in which to implement it. Yay!
Yeah.
I love this Let's Get Synced. We've got a lot going on here.
Oh
So
yeah.
thank you so much for being with us here today. I know it's
Thank
very
you.
late for you over there, but I appreciate it. And I appreciate the work that you're doing. You're
Thank you.
truly dedicated. You really are contributing. And I love the fact that you have given us tools that are simple, logical,
Mm.
applicable, and easy for anyone to step up
Mm.
and be a part of. And I really love the Olympic idea, and I think we really need to get behind that. Alison, you hear that?
Thank
Let's
you.
get behind that.
Yeah, we can easily combine it with simple and synchronicity.
Yes, absolutely. It could be that global event that all happens at
Mhm.
once. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Well,
Mm.
thank you so much for the work that you're doing. And
Thank you.
folks, the it's the initiative 22. Um,
2022 initiative.
there we
Hmm.
go. All right, my dyslexia coming up, and
Okay.
just please check it out. Um, it's laid out there. If you're confused, if you haven't got focused, it's laid out there to
Oh
simplify
yeah.
something
It's
for
almost
you to
midnight.
follow, right? And all you've got to do is just be willing to participate. Every single one of you, not just
Uh-huh.
the leaders, the politicians, or the
All of it.
scientists, or the environmentalists, every single one of us that lives
Yes.
here on this planet needs to
Mm.
step in, right?
Mm. Can I mention one thing? Or is it
Please.
just a person for you to interview?
Oh, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I look forward to hearing that. You want to tell me afterwards? A secret? Or you want to
I,
mention it
I,
now?
I can mention it now
Yeah,
because the
okay.
world needs to hear it. She's called Greta.
Mm-hmm.
Greta Thunberg. She's 15 years old.
Oh, love kids. Yes.
Yeah.
What's she
She's from
doing?
Sweden. She's on a school strike
Ah,
for the
good for her.
climate.
Good for her. Good for
Yeah.
her. Would
Mm.
love to. Would love to interview her. I've got a vegan
Mm.
kid on right now at 13 years of age.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
kids are wonderful, and they're our future leaders. And they're
Yeah.
getting it already. They're
Uh,
getting it already. So it's
yeah.
about time we start listening to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Mm.
please do the introduction. I would love it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I will. Yeah.
We have a lot of exuberance here on this
Yeah.
guessing series, folks. As you can see, we're hitting very serious topics, but we're not doing it with down and glum and the end of the world series. So, you've got enough of those Armageddons out there. We're talking
Mm.
about the sustainability of this beautiful, opulent, gorgeous, exciting life that if every single one of us decides to participate, we all can benefit from, because we want to have this party of life that everybody celebrates, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now
Thank you.
that we're global, we'll make it.
Yes, Yes, this is not a question of if we're going to do it, it's just a question of when.
Exactly.
Right? When and who's coming? It's a big RSVP out there, folks. If you're interested in
2022.
this, want to be a part of it, RSVP. All right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have an email people can contact you at?
Yes, it's Helena, that's my name, .Lindemark at 2022initiative.se. Or you can use just info at 2022initiative.se. I'll get that as well.
Okay, and of course it's going to be here up on YouTube and on the blog. So anybody that's listening to this on SoundCloud or Google Play, come back to the blog and you get all that information plus the graphics right here on selfdiscoveryradiotv.com. Eco Series Get Synced. And you'll see all of the wonderful people I've got up here and more to come. We've got the innovators, we've got the motivators, we've got the people with the solutions. All we are asking you to do is join the party. So thanks, Helena. Until next time, folks. Bye for now. For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.